What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my co-main event prediction video for UFC 296. We have a flyweight fight between Alexandre Pantoja and Brandon Royval.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back with another prediction video. This week we are breaking down a very fun co-main event on a very good card in UFC 296. We have an absolute stacked pay-per-view. Really looking forward to it. And on this stacked pay-per-view, this is my favorite fight on the card. I mean, this fight's going to be phenomenal. It is a rematch. It is a Brandon Royval fight. Brandon Royval fights are always super exciting. We don't see a lot of fighters in the UFC like Brandon Royval. And then we have one of my personal favorite fighters, Alexandre Pantoja, as well as Royval. He's never really in a boring fight. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to breaking it down. Before we get into it, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting out my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC 296 on Wednesday. Still have a couple more matchups I want to dig into a little bit more. And then I'm going live multiple times throughout the week. I have two best bet shows coming up Friday and Saturday. And then my final thoughts stream as always. So lots of content. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And as well with like the video. I do appreciate all the likes. But yeah, I say we get into it. We're going to start as always with the tail of the tape. We'll talk some betting as well. We got a lot of lines out for this card already. We got Alexandre Pantoja. He's 33 years old, 5'5" with a 68-inch reach, 26-5 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Brandon Royval, 31 years old, 5'9" with a 70.5-inch reach, 15-6 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. We have Alexandre Pantoja opening up minus 260, currently minus 190. Brandon Royval opening up as a plus 200 underdog, currently plus 160. So, yeah, I mean, we have a semi-recent fight between these two, right? I mean, these guys fought, it was back in 2021 of August. And it was a fun fight. I mean, it was an incredible fight. I remember being on, I think, Alexandre Pantoja in that fight, watching it live and just being terrified because it looked like he was like tired, like death gassed, like first round. The second round starts. It looks like Royval is on his way to breaking Pantoja. And then in a scramble out of nowhere, Pantoja takes the back and subs him very shortly after. But, I mean, that was a very fun fight. I mean, that first round was crazy. Those guys showed zero striking defense. They showed a willingness to be hit in the face. Both guys are super tough. And it was a fun fight up until Pantoja did find that rear naked choke in the second round. So, yeah, this is it's a tough fight for me. I know, these odds don't really indicate that, but I've been going back and forth on it. I feel like this fight can play out a couple different ways. The first way I feel like it could potentially play out is Royval just sets a pace that we just don't see. I mean, there's not a lot of guys in the UFC like Brandon Royval. This guy's unique, and he's fun, and he's really fun to watch. But Royval has no striking defense. On paper, it says 50%. I think, I don't know if it's lying or what, but it doesn't feel like he has a 50% strike in defense. It looks more like 25%. He's honestly literally eating punches with his face, and it doesn't really faze him that much. He has been dropped here and there, but he's super tough. He's willing to eat a punch, which, I mean, it could backfire here. I don't know, but so, yeah, he's terrible striking defense, which is fine. That's his game. It's been working out for him a lot in his career. And then, 2, he has no takedown defense. On paper, it says 39%. I'm shocked it's even 39%. I was more expecting 0% because he doesn't defend takedowns. He wants you to take him down. So, yeah, no striking defense, no takedown defense. Incredible scrambling ability, though. I mean, Brandon Royval is a guy that he gets into a lot of bad spots on the mat, even in the Pantoja fight. This is a guy in Royval who will give up his back. He'll give up mount. And that's all well and good against some lower level guys, right? Like that can work against maybe like a Tim Elliott or like a Matt Schnell, guys like that. But if you're putting yourself into these bad spots, whether it's on the feet or on the mat, getting hit clean with no striking defense, right? Getting your back taken, getting mounted. I mean, that could work maybe against some of these lower level guys, and it has. But, I mean, I just feel like the more I think about this fight, the more I feel like you can't make this many mistakes against a guy in Alexandre Pantoja who's extremely high level, who's extremely dangerous, and quite frankly, all Brandon Royval does is make mistakes. And it's fun to watch, and it works a lot, more than it really should. But we saw in their first fight, Royval made a mistake, and Alexandre Pantoja capitalized on it. If Alexandre Pantoja gets your back, it doesn't matter who you are in the division. If Alexandre Pantoja gets your back, he is finishing you more often than not. He went out there against Alex Perez, just ran through him like a hot knife through butter. We saw as soon as Pantoja got Royval's back in the second round, no matter how tired Pantoja looked, because he looked extremely tired, took his back, the fight was over very shortly after. Like, Alexandre Pantoja is extremely dangerous. Really, wherever the fight goes, I feel like he could potentially drop. I feel like either guy's live to potentially drop either guy, just because both guys are willing to eat a shot and both guys have so much power. But I feel like this fight is primarily going to be a scramble fest. I feel like it's going to be a fight that takes place on the mat. Pantoja is going to have no resistance getting takedowns here. And then Royval is going to put himself into bad spots. He's submission over position to a T. I mean, this guy is going for a ton of submissions. He's very active, and I'm not sure he's catching Pantoja in something early on. With that said, though, if this fight does get extended, you got to think it favors Royval. I know Pantoja did go 5 rounds in his last fight against Morono, but I think this fight's going to be set at a much, much higher pace. You go back and watch their first fight. Incredible pace that was pushed by Brandon Royval, and that's every single Brandon Royval fight. So I think if Royval is going to win, he's going to put himself into bad spots. He's going to have to get out of those bad spots. And, doing that against Pantoja, I think, is going to be easier said than done. And that's kind of why I'm leaning the Pantoja side. I don't like the line at all. But I think Pantoja eventually catches Royval in something, catches him in something after Royval makes a mistake. Because, like I said, all Royval does is just make mistake after mistake after mistake. And it's like I said, it's fun to watch, but at this level, at this high level in a championship fight, a guy like Pantoja is going to make you pay for those mistakes. So I'm going to take Pantoja. I think it's early. I know Pantoja finished Royval in the second round in their last fight. I think it's probably the first or second round. Again, I'll say first round submission this time around for Pantoja. But if this fight reaches like the third, fourth, or fifth round, which I don't think it does, but if it does, I think Royval is going to be very live down the stretch. So how I'm looking at this from a betting perspective is I like violence here quite a bit. Violence is probably I said it was going to be one of my favorite spots at the card, and I said I was gonna max bet the fight doesn't go to decision, and then they opened the line and they opened the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 550 for a flyweight fight, which is crazy. So they're all over it, they're onto it big time. But yeah, I think even like the under 2.5 at minus 135, minus 140, it has my attention. I think this fight ends within the first 2.5 rounds. I think the fight ends by sub at plus 110 has my attention. I think this fight primarily plays out on the mat. I think somebody's getting subbed here. And then also maybe these late Royval props have my attention as well. Like the Royval props are like third, fourth, and fifth round Royval props have my attention. They're really big numbers. So yeah, I've nothing played on this fight yet, but I'm looking at playing violence in some type of way. I think early Pantoja props, which they're going to be terrible prices. But yeah, under 2.5, fight ends by sub, and then Royval late prop sprinkles are kind of what I'm looking at for this one there. But I'm going to pick Pantoja to get it done early on, and I think he gets it done, I'll say, in the first round by submission. I cannot wait for this fight on a card where there's a ton of phenomenal fights. Edwards-Covington main event, Rachmanov, Thompson, Tony Ferguson, Paddy Pimblett, Ian Gary, Vicente Luque, a ton of star power on this card. On a card like that, this is my favorite fight. This fight is going to be incredible, and really looking forward to sitting back and enjoying this one, and hopefully cashing some tickets along the way. So, yeah, give me Pantoja. Let me know what you guys have down in the comments for this fight. Really looking forward to it. If you guys could do me a favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting out a ton more content. I did post my main card, or my main event prediction video, Colby Covington, Leon Edwards. Go check that out if you have not already. And then my full card breakdown and prediction video will be out on Wednesday. And then I'll be going live Friday and Saturday. Friday twice for the final thoughts and best bet. And then a second best bet show for the finale, and that's going to be on Fight Day Saturday. So, yeah, thanks, guys, for watching, and best of luck for UFC 296. See you later.